Good morning, family, and welcome to Morning Heart Devotion with Dr. Chung-Shik Young, brought to you by our Heavenly Parent Holy Community. Now let's begin by greeting our Heavenly Parent and true parents. Chonjin Champu님ke Kyungbe Haru. Now I'd like to ask Reverend Milhan Stevens to lead us in the family pledge.
가정맹세 1. 천혜여극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 본향 땅을 찾아 본연의 창조의 상인 지상 천국과 천상 천국을 창건할 것을 맹세하나이다. 2. 천혜여극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님을 모시어 천주의 대표적 가정이 되며 중심적 가정이 되어 가정에서는 효자, 국가에서는 충신, 세계에서는 성인, 천주에서는 성자의 가정의 도리를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 3. 천혜여극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 4대 심정권과 3대 왕권과皇族권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 4. 천혜여극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님의 창조의 상인 천주대 가족을 형성하여 자유와 평화와 통일과 행복의 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 5. 천혜여극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 매일 주체적 천상세계와 대상적 지상세계의 통일을 향해 전진적 발전을 촉진화할 것을 맹세하나이다. 6. 천혜여극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 하늘 부모님과 참 부모님의 대신 가정으로서 자녀를 움직이는 가정이 되어 하늘의 축복을 주변에 연결시키는 가정을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 7. 천혜여극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 본연의 혈통과 연결된 위하는 생활을 통하여 심정문화 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다. 8. 천혜여극 주인 우리 가정은 참사랑을 중심하고 천혜여극 시대를 맞이하여 절대신앙, 절대사랑, 절대복종으로 신인의 일체 이상을 이루어 지상천국과 천상천국의 해방권과 석방권을 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
And to open us up in prayer this morning, I'd like to invite Theodore Shimio-san to lead us in prayer.
Let us pray. Dear Heavenly Parent, thank you so much for this morning devotion that we can enjoy, centering upon Dr. Yon. And last night, all of us were able to really be part of the victory celebration of the Summit 2022, and we were so amazed with many behind-the-scenes stories which were shared by at the time, and we know how much devotion and dedication our true mother has been showing, and regardless of any kind of difficulties that she may have faced with, she never changed her spirit of devotion. And from that, we know that all these wonderful results had to come naturally. And of course, we know that this is a sort of a supernatural phenomenon that is occurring, that has been occurring. But in a way, we can say it's natural that all these things should happen. And one prominent head of state from Cambodia, his real love and devotion for God's will centering upon our true mother this time is really amazing. And we know that more miracles will happen. Wonderful things will happen. That's what we felt yesterday. And that really gave us real encouragement so that we may really continuously work hard until every single person of the entire humanity can be restored. Dr. Yon always talks about total salvation, and it may seem impossible, but we believe it's possible. Heavenly Parent, this morning, again, we really want to make our strong determination to go forward. And we know that along with our true mothers and true parents, devotion, unconditional love for us. Dr. Yon also, the top leader of North America, is really showing the same kind of example, high standard. We really want to follow that kind of standard, and all the problems of the world will be handled properly. We believe it. Thank you so much. Let us really open our hearts and minds again this morning to be able to really absorb what's available, what's is to be given from above through Dr. Yon this morning. Thank you so much again. I want to offer this prayer report in the name of Theodore and the Smie Shimmyo Blessed Center family. 아주
신묘 sensei, arigatou gozaimasu. Thank you for your really very powerful and very much, convincing power. Let's unite with the True Mother. Thank you so much. 감사합니다.
Thank you for that beautiful prayer. Now let's go into our breakouts and share our appreciation points with one another, and we'll be back soon. Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I hope you enjoyed your breakout. I enjoyed mine talking with a wonderful uncle. So first, I would like to invite up Tom Lillis Baldwin. If you could please unmute and share your appreciation.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Rebecca. It was beautiful to be in the share room with you. I was just saying that Dr. Young's guidance yesterday, going back to the biblical phrase, rejoice always, pray without ceasing, in everything give thanks, is so difficult, such a challenge there. And especially how to accomplish that when the things that are happening seem like I'm not able to deeply experience the heart of God enough to be able to give that to the people around me. But really, as you go on, God created us all to be in relation. And so if the relations are difficult, it's our opportunity to grow and to build more. And then Rebecca was sharing about her father and her mother, and beautiful stories of their coming. She was remembering her father arrived in America from El Salvador 56 years ago on Valentine's Day, and he has very beautiful memories of that time. So, yeah, so thank you, everybody. Thank you, Dr. Young.
Okay.
God bless.
Thank you, Tom and Baldwin. You say it is very difficult, of course, but when you are saying it is difficult, means you are really struggling to overcome it. That means already great process already. Someone do not notice it is difficult, but you already notice it is difficult. And then you are really challenging to overcome every day. That means your spirit is alive. Already that is a really positive sign. The more you hear God's word, and the more you can have a reflection more and more, and then your heart become more deeper, and then you can grow more. Someday you know the taste, what God's word is talking about. I'm really grateful to you, your very honest and sincere sharing. 감사합니다.
Thank you, Uncle Tom. Next, I would like to invite up Bob and Diane Abendra to share their appreciation.
Good morning.
Oh, Bob, Diane, 안녕하세요.
안녕하십니까, 영 선생님.
Yeah. Good morning, Dr. Young.
Yay.
I'm nervous. Always in public. I was sharing with Milhan that how great it was to see the celebration yesterday. Especially to see the national media in Korea covering, all the media in Korea covering the event on television. And as Milhan said in the group, or Diane maybe, they couldn't be negative. They couldn't dare be negative about it, because it was so positive, such a positive thing was happening. And I related it to the Jongsung of morning devotion. I mean, a lot of my motivation, part of my big motivation coming to morning devotion is my own personal struggle, but still, Dr. Young's always reminding us how great the Jongsung is, on morning devotion, for us to do morning devotion, national level, but it's contributing way beyond the national level, and I feel so connected because of that to the what's happening with the World Summit, and what's happening with the in Cambodia, Hun Sen, and other great things like Prophet Hadibe and so forth. So anyway, that's my appreciation for.
Yeah, thank you so much, Bob. And okay, Diane.
Yeah. Well, I I was appreciating the shimyos because I always really enjoy to hear Professor Shimyo's prayer and this prayer this morning, and I was telling Milhan that I took care of their oldest daughter Keijo at Jacob House Children's Center in 1979 when there was a condition for the blessed wives to go out to universities to working with CARP, and the children were at Jacob House, and yeah, and I always remember them. They're always my favorite parents. So, and I remember, yeah, I appreciate them. How they were always so faithful then. I remember Mrs. Shimyo leaving Keijo crying and her husband kind of trying to
Let's go.
almost scold her a little bit for crying to leave Keijo, but just so beautiful, such a moving memory of real greatness of heart. And I was thinking about, gosh, maybe God has really got something in store for them now with this in this new age. I mean, I'm sure they're doing great things.
Thank you.
But yeah, anyway.
So then, Bob and Diane, do you have a good experience with Tomomi?
Say again.
Do you have a good experience with Tomomi?
Yes, Tomomi is escaping to our house while you're away.
It was wonderful to have her. Oh my gosh, it's just really such a lovely experience that to have time, and she could work also, and we could have different kinds of time together, and she could get to know our son John and us a little, and visit some friends here, and it was really.
You already got some taste of the daughter-in-law. Okay. Thank you so much, Bob and Diane.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you to those who shared this morning. So Dr. Young has prepared another recording for us this morning, so let us open up our hearts and our minds to welcome Dr. Young for Morning Heart Devotion.
안녕하세요. Good morning. Good morning. My dear brothers and sisters, clergy and members of peace, 안녕하십니까? Today we are going to participate in a victory celebration very soon with the True Mother. Today I'd like to talk about Europe again from True Mother's anthology to 1. So let's invite Heavenly Honey. Please read.
Europe. This is my third visit to this country. Korea in the 1960s was in a terrible state, much worse than today's Albania, because it was right after the war. At that time, True Father started the New Mind, New Life campaign and the New Community movement on a national scale. He mobilized the youth to lead the Enlightenment movement by bringing them together and making them take part in such activities as the eradication of illiteracy. By thus giving the people hopes and dreams, he put his teachings into practice, one idea at a time. I have taken this opportunity to speak to you at this time because I hope that you ambassadors for peace will play a central role in the work of purifying everything in your surroundings and take the lead in developing this nation with new dreams in your hearts. A good fruit is one that is fully ripe and plump. In making your country more prosperous and powerful, the economic aspect is important. But what is more important is the internal aspect. Your minds need to be stronger. If you follow True Father's words, you can make this country prosperous and powerful in only a few years. In the beginning time in Korea, we had less than 100 active members. There are 300 people gathered here today, and that means that you can make this country 3 times more prosperous in 10 years. I hope that you will all do your best.
Thank you, Heavenly Honey. Korea was completely devastated by the war that took place in 1950, and it degenerated into one of the poorest countries in the world. The driving force behind Korea developing into one of the today's great economic power was the Semaul movement, which is a new village movement, new community movement. Now, Korea has continued to rapidly develop so much that it entered the G20 and then now the G10 countries. However, what is important is the fact that the origin of the Semaul movement, which is a new village movement, which brought about great revival in Korea, was the rural enlightenment witnessing movement started by the unification movement. Today, let's study about the rural enlightenment witnessing movement and Semaul movement, which is a new village movement.
The rural enlightenment witnessing movement is the first to see the Semaul movement. It is the Enlightenment witnessing movement which was to help with farming during the day and give lectures on principles at night. Due to the incidents of Ewha Women's University and Yonsei University in 1955, the government treated the Unification Church as heretical, so we suffered a lot from the media. After President Park Chung-hee took office, he worried a lot about Korea's economy. At that time, Korea was in ruins after the Korean War, so there was no hope for the country. When President Park Chung-hee toured Asian countries and went to Thailand, Myanmar, and the Philippines, he lamented that Korea would like to live as much as these countries. After returning to Korea, President Park Chung-hee toured the country in a jeep and found hope in the countryside. There were people called Nong Do Won and Sung Nok Su that had changed the village, and they were the unificationists. President Park Chung-hee used the movement of Unification Church members as it was and renamed it the Semaul movement. Most of the Unification Church members received the National Award at that time, which was conferred by President Park Chung-hee. The representative figures were Han In-soo and Kim Yong-sung. Later, after the success of the Semaul movement, President Park Chung-hee's wife, Yuk Young-soo, gave us the land of little angels to repay the kindness to the unificationists when they built Children's Grand Park.
Yes, my brothers and sisters, this rural enlightenment witnessing movement was the first to Semaul movement, which is a new community and movement. Because of that, can you imagine that Korea now, how much it really developed and become now one of the very much rich country? Really, I think, many of the Korean the leadership in a long time ago, they recognize our two parents' great effort and contribution for the sake of the nation of Korea. Living divine principle today, and again, we are talking about the living for the sake of others. Let's study again based upon our EDP content.
Center of the universe. Considering the purpose of existence of the individual embodiments of truth that make up the material universe at different levels, we can surmise energy exists in order to form particles. Particles exist to form atoms, atoms to form molecules, molecules to form matter, and matter exists for the creation of all the individual entities in the universe. The activity of matter is for the purpose of constructing the universe. What is the purpose of the universe? What is its center? It is none other than human beings. This is why God, after creating human beings, commanded them to have dominion over the universe. Human beings have dominion over the universe.
Yes. Energy, live for the sake of the particles. Particles live for the sake of atoms. Atoms live for molecules. Molecules for the matter. Matter live for the sake of the universe. Universe for the sake of the human being. Human being have to live for the sake of God. God live for the sake of the entire universe. My brothers and sisters, this living, the living for the sake of others, this philosophy is the really main philosophy of the universe. We need to know that. That's why Father asks us to really follow the law of the universe, which is living for the sake of others. Let us study Father's word.
God's operational tactics. Does anybody acknowledge you for having joined the Unification Church? God will acknowledge you. I make you work according to God's operational tactics. You must not live for your individual self. You must save the people of this nation. Therefore, you must shed tears for humankind, sweat for the earth, and blood for heaven. You must experience God's love to the extent that you can exclaim, "This is something I never knew." Yet, now that I know its taste, I really, really like it. It is amazing.
Yes. True parents make us walk according to God's operational tactics. God's operational tactic is to never live for individual self, but live for the sake of the nation and world and God. If you prosper and will never perish. Heaven's internal operational tactic is first, just now Father mentioned, sweat for the earth. Second, shed tears for humankind. Third, shed blood for heaven. What does sweat symbolize? It means to put in a lot of effort, investment, and hard work. To sweat, you have to be on the front line more than anyone else and run on your feet, to not do it just with your head. What do tears symbolize? Tears symbolize love. It means shedding a lot of tears with prayer and 정성 for humankind. The parents' tears always accompany where parents love children. That's why Father always saying that tears is love. What does blood symbolize? Blood symbolizes sacrifice. It means to go on the path of sacrifice for God and God's will. That is the path of an offering. Think that you can pay any indemnity if it is for the sake of heaven. True love always requires sacrifice. Many people think true love just only obtain. No, Father said, true love always requires sacrifice. When parents are raising up their children without sacrifice, how can they raise up each one of their own children? There is no love without sacrifice. Just as a lot of sacrifice is needed for parents to or raise children. A lot of sacrifice is needed for humankind to love God. That's why Father talking about you shed tears for humankind, sweat for the earth, and blood for heaven. This is the way to live for the sake of others. Next.
Now is the time to pray for the world. The Unification Church today does not want us to become people called to serve the nation. The time to pray for this nation called the Republic of Korea has passed. Now indeed is the time to pray for the world. The time to pray for the United States has passed. I am saying that the time to pray for this nation has passed. It is time to pray for the sake of the world.
Yes, our unification movement members need to live with a clear sense of calling. Why God is calling me, why God is calling you. We need to have a clear sense of calling. Then what kind of a sense of calling is that? I receive the calling for the sake of the world and humankind. I receive the calling for the sake of the liberating and comforting the sorrowful God. We should live with the sense of calling. Now is the time of the living beyond the people and nation. It is a time of living for the sake of humankind as my family and as my own brothers and sisters. Next.
Heaven's desire, living for the sake of others. God desires for human beings to love the world more than they love their own nation. God himself desires the salvation of all humankind more than saving the people of this nation. In response to this demand of the Father, you must have a heart of being able to love the world more than your own nation and love humanity more than your own siblings. In doing so, you should become sons and daughters who strenuously appeal in tears, saying, "Dear heaven, I shall bear the cross for the sake of the great fortunes of the kingdom of heaven. Please entrust this to me." From now on, a great revival movement shall begin through the altars of the Unification Church, beginning from Asia and reaching the entire world. The realm of resurrection here does not refer to the realm of resurrection of the individual. Rather, it refers to the realm of resurrection of the world that goes beyond the people and nation. Therefore, we should grasp the nation with our left hand and the world with our right. You should shed tears for the nation with the conviction that this nation is necessary in order to recover the world, and become sons and daughters who follow God as he cries for the sake of the world.
Yes. True parents said, God desires for human beings to love the world more than they love their own nation. God himself desires the salvation of all humankind more than saving the people of this nation. True parents continued, we must become the sons and daughters who can struggle and plead, "Dear heaven, I shall bear the cross for the sake of the great fortunes of the kingdom of heaven. Please entrust this to me." Final heart for heaven is surpassing my own family and nation and carrying the cross for all mankind and the entire world on the behalf of God. My brothers and sisters, Father continuously talking about, we need to live for the sake of all mankind and for the sake of the world. So, America, the greatest nation. America is a chosen nation. That's why our portion of responsibility to raise up many, many, many young people, especially our second generation, third generation, many youth members. And then we need to send them to the world. That is our mission. Day and night, we need to really thinking how to save the world, how to save all mankind. That is a role of the North America and USA, my brothers and sisters. That's why we need to really have that kind of great vision. America doesn't exist for the sake of the war. We need to really focus on and raising up our young people sent to the war. That is an important mission. You and me, we need to seriously think about that. If we really love for all mankind and on the world, centering on that kind of raising up the young people, I am telling you, America really can have a really great revival experience. Today's youth ministry, the three-step process of faith and growth. So let's study.
The three-step process of faith and growth. When you first enter the church, your life of faith in the formation stage begins. Formation stage faith is faith at the servant level. Growth stage faith is faith at the adopted son level. Completion stage faith is the stage where you receive the blessing, become a filial couple, and perfect your heart. If you do well in formation stage faith, you will receive salvation at the servant level. To receive salvation at the servant level means, in a word, to be freed from one's individual sins. In formation stage faith, you have to completely give up the habits you had been living with since you were born. All of our words, thoughts, and actions are inherited from our ancestors' lineage of disbelief. Therefore, we must completely reform the feelings and behaviors of disbelief in the fallen world so far.
Yes. The growth of the faith in the formation stage and growth stage is a course. I must go on as the individual. Again, my brothers and sisters, this is very important. The growth of the faith in the formation stage and growth stage is a course I must go on as an individual. However, the completion stage course is a course that a couple goes on together. Cannot be alone. No, completion stage is really different, my brothers and sisters. The beginning of the completion stage course starts with the couple. The formation stage faith is the course of the self-denial. It is a course to completely get rid of all the habits, traditions, and fallen nature centered on Satan until now. Because this formation stage course is the course of the self-denial, the believer must become like clay that can be used in any way the potter wishes. In the Bible, Jeremiah 18:6, it says, he said, can I not do with you, Israel, as this potter does? Declares the Lord, like clay in the hand of the potter, so are you in my hand, Israel. The potter is God. Then who we are? We are clay. We who have fallen must become clay. The potter can use at will. And clay cannot assert themselves in front of the potter. We need self-denial, faith of completely living by potter's will and entrusting everything to him. You need to think that I do not exist. I do not exist. Completely need to have self-denial. That is the beginning stage of our life of faith, which is, the formation stage. Formation stage course is the course of the servant. We need to know what is and how to begin our life of faith. Next.
Then the task is how to reform one's character, thoughts, and actions that were centered on fallen nature. The most important thing in formation stage faith is to completely deny yourself. Those in formation stage faith must have a strong will to think, speak, and act through their subject, Abel's figure, to improve themselves. And while giving life to the word, we must follow the ceremonies and systems of the church well. You must thoroughly practice your worship life, prayer life, tithing life, and reporting life. In order to have good formation stage faith, you must serve your Abel as God. We must always report to Abel and gain their approval. Only then can we be revived at the formation stage.
Yes. In the formation stage of faith, you should think of your Abel as your porter. Of course, your Abel figure is not yet perfect, but you need to serve him. You need to attend him. It's like my porter. You should also think of yourself as a clay before God, the porter, and have absolute faith and absolute obedience. Of course, sometimes your Abel guide you in wrong way, but as long as you believe, even though your Abel isn't, not great, not yet perfect, but treat him as the porter, then God will be responsible for your life of faith. For example, even Abel mislead you, as long as you have absolute faith and absolute obedience, God should be responsible for your faith. Since the formation stage of faith is on the level of servant's faith, you cannot have your own possession. The servant must clearly think, I belong to the master. I belong to the master. You must always live a life of receiving permission from and reporting to the master. Only in this way can you revive from the formation stage. That's why I think thoroughly, absolutely follow the basic about the teaching and guidance. Listen God's word very well, attending Sunday service, and then attending Abel. At the same time, you really need to have a clear report system. Always need to report to your Abel. You cannot make decision by your own self. If you make decision everything by your own self, you cannot change your lifestyle. And also giving tithing. Since you joined already 10 years to 20 years, you don't have yet to have the tradition of the tithing. That means you are not yet graduate the formation stage. When you really offer tithing thoroughly, I am telling you guarantee. You no need to worry anymore about the financial issues in your future. But you do not give yet tithing. That means I have still my own possession. I put my own possession, as the top priority more than God. That means not yet completely denied. That's why tithing, even though you offer 1/10, that means I offer everything. I already mentioned to you before. This time I went to Australia, I checked each one of my children. 3 of them already start to have work. And then my son-in-law, already giving very thorough tithing. And then a second one, my boy, and he start to work, but he didn't give the tithing. Already he started more than 6 months ago. He have a job. And then he knows that he need to offer. So we inform him about, account number of the Australian church. And he immediately offered the tithing. Now he's really determined to giving tithing every month. And then third one, he just only started. And then I got a few days ago news that he got a salary and then he offered a tithing. I really emphasize again and again my children, the giving tithing is, you can know that you already passed the formation stage, the level of servant owner, tithing. tithing really symbolizing really how to say your standard of your formation stage. And then those who are already stable, already surpass the formation stage, giving tithing very, very well. Secondly, attending Sunday service, no missing at all. If you have that kind of thought of faith at the formation stage, and then you can upgrade your life of faith to another level. Okay, next one.
Once you enter school, you must establish a good relationship with the church and you're able more than anything else in the world. You should not make friends with outside people until your faith is established. If you have not yet established your faith, you can commit another crime if you get close to your outside friends. Formation stage faith is like the bride and groom who just got married. If you are a newly married groom and bride, you should focus on your spouse more than on outside friends you've made in the past. You must not wander around recklessly. You should care more about your groom or bride than about your relationships with outside people. The formation stage is the period of building trust between the subject and the object. Therefore, both need to set an unforgettable standard of heart.
Yes. In the formation stage faith servants level, you must become the people who love Abel and receive recognition and praise from Abel. Since the formation stage, the period to build trust between the subject and object partners, the servant should practice a life of faith of absolutely obeying their Abel and then touching their heart. To the servant who touches Abel's heart, then Abel will not treat him as a servant. Abel regards the servant as a son.
Then, what kind of faith is a servant's position? After gaining faith from hearing the word for the first time and being moved, you feel that a plus will be added to your life. You want to believe because you heard that you will get blessings if you do. In formation stage faith, you are centered on yourself and come to like your subject. A servant does not work because of his master's circumstances. A servant works for a set amount of time for the purpose of being paid. He doesn't work at his owner's vineyard yard to help, but to get paid. In this way, the nature of a servant serves his master, centered on his own interests. Today, if we ask existing Christians, why do you believe in Jesus? They will respond, I believe in order to be saved. If you ask, do you know Jesus' circumstances? Do you know Jesus' wishes? They will answer, Jesus died on the cross for us. They don't know Jesus' circumstances and wishes. They just want to believe in Jesus because they receive forgiveness for their sins and salvation through him. Regardless of Jesus' circumstances and wishes, they say that they will believe and receive blessings first. This is the gospel in the ears of servants.
Yes. At the level of servant, it is necessary to root out the nature of a servant. To root out the nature of the servant, I must stand in the object partner position with a clear belief, absolute belief. I am the clay to my potter. That is a self-denial. If I completely deny myself, the master will not treat me as a servant. The master will treat that servant as his child, my brothers and sisters. Therefore, the servant must change his sense of the ownership by saying, I do not belong to myself, but I belong to my master. So we need to really surpass the formation stage. And also now we are very much focused on online holy community. When you take care of each one of the members of the online holy community, let them let them grow up according to the law of the principle, formation stage and growth stage and completion stage. You need to know how to raise up them step by step. There is a time period of the growth. Not all of a sudden jumping and upgrade all of a sudden from the beginning until end. You need to go through proper process and growth, formation stage and growth stage, and finally completion stage. Thank you very much. God bless you, my brothers and sisters. 감사합니다.
Thank you so much, Dr. Young, for your beautiful message this morning. Definitely having me think about a lot of things and about my faith and personal growth. So I'm sure everyone else is feeling the same. So thank you. And now we will go into our breakouts and discuss our takeaways. So we'll see you back soon. Welcome back, family. I hope you enjoyed your breakout. To share first, let me invite up Senor Pedro, if you could please share with us your takeaway.
Thank you very much. Again, my takeaway, basically I talk about central figure. I'm taking doctor and participating in the doctoral degree at the seminar at this moment. And I'm taking 4 classes, so a little bit busy besides the other things I'm doing in Puerto Rico. So I consider them like a central figure, a type of central figure. And I consider it's very important. They say you have to turn in a paper by this date. It has to be more or less this amount of words. So I consider that very important to follow. And if I fail to do that, then report and I say, well, my excuse is that I was sick or whatever. I have to report, and just whatever they decide, that's fine with me. I mentioned another point, but sometimes central figures in the church, they have some situations, and maybe even big leaders, sometimes they have left the movement. So in that kind of situation, how to obey, because they're going against the movement. So my thinking is that I will have to say, no, I'm going to stay. I'm not going to follow your direction. I will pray for you. So I would like to hear more in depth about those type of situations. I think in that situation, God would want me to make a decision based on my conscience. And what we know about conscience, that we have to follow our conscience. That's my takeaway. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so much, Petro. Yeah, I think as long as we serving God and really respect able figure, sometimes able figure gave a wrong direction, but as long as you have that kind of vertical alignment, a right attitude, and then God tell you, when able make something wrong, and then your conscience tell you, and God guiding you what to do. That's why, but your attitude is still need to have that kind of respectful heart and mindset. Then, and through your conscience, through your original mind, through the God will tell you what's wrong and what's right. So you never lose anything. Thank you very much, Petro, for your sharing. 감사합니다.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next, I would like to invite up Dr. Jenkins. If you could please unmute.
Hello, Dr. Young.
Yeah, my dear brothers and sisters, actually now, our hero, our Michael Jenkins now, show up now his face. I really encourage all our North American brothers and sisters, let's really appreciate the, Washington Times, Tom McDavid, and then our Reverend Jenkins and his staff, all they really unite together. And many people told me that this Korean event is like an event of the America. So I think they are really, really appreciate our elders and sons about helping for fatherland Korea. I once again, my brothers and sisters, let's give a big hand to our Dr. Michael Jenkins and his wife and Washington Times, all those staffs. Thank you.
Thank you, America. Thank you, Dr. Young. Definitely, True Mother's power is greater than ever. Her wisdom, her love, and also it's touching people's hearts. It's touching the hearts of the key leaders of America. That's the most amazing thing that we've ever seen. And our unity through the morning devotion, I think, is making the condition for great heavenly fortune to pour down. I'm so grateful. True Mother's wisdom is amazing. So what I'm seeing here, always, Mother asked Dr. Walsh and Tom McDivitt and I to work closely together to get to the President of the United States. And within 40 days, we were able to be in the White House last year. And then again, rallies of hope started to really go quickly this last 2021. And it finally led to today. The Rally of Hope, the Think Tank 2022 was really an amazing thing. For the VIPs to come this time was one of the most difficult experiences I've ever seen. You could not come to Korea without a quarantine waiver. And we couldn't get the waivers. The government wasn't giving them for anyone. Finally, at the last minute, we got waivers for the key leaders, Vice President, the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense. But then when they came, they could not have any conditions shortened or waived. So they had to arrive in Incheon and actually get assigned to a hotel. And they didn't even know which hotel they would go to. And they had to get on a government bus, go to that hotel, get a PCR test, and then check in. But I was so amazed. These people were so sure that this was what God wanted them to do. It's very, very, very moving. So the Vice President of the United States, really wonderful man of God. And he didn't complain 1 second. He actually felt kind of proud of the fact that he went to a very humble hotel near Kimpo Airport. And when some of the people went into that hotel, the lights weren't working well, the heat wasn't working well, but they didn't complain. And the miracle was that Prime Minister Hun Sen was the person who also committed from Cambodia, which is a communist country, but he's so deeply moved by Mother through the World Summit and through rallies of hope. He absolutely was confident that it was the right thing for him to do, to join Secretary General Ban Ki-moon of the United Nations and co-host this conference. And then for him to welcome, the Vice President of the United States, the Secretary of State, and the Secretary of Defense, and then also Pastor Paula White. It was just amazing. Paula was so confident about Mother's role in history, that God has anointed her, and it was such a beautiful thing. But the Vice President didn't complain, but he had to be at the meeting all by 9 a.m. for the reception with Prime Minister Hun Sen to open the whole conference. But he arrived the night before at 7, and the whole test, he didn't get the test till 9 p.m. And then they said at least he'll get out by 10 or 11 in the morning. That would miss the whole opening. Somehow, like by a miracle, it opened up and he got out early enough that he walked in the door for the reception at the VIP green room 2 minutes before we were supposed to leave that room. And he came in, then they had a great greeting with Prime Minister Hun Sen, with Prime Minister Harper, our beloved Canada, doing so well. And then also they could go into the conference together and have a beautiful opening session. Then also the same thing with Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo. What a great man of God. I was amazed also. He came 5:40 a.m. on Saturday morning, the 12th. He was supposed to speak at 2:30. So what happened was when he arrived at 5:40, he got to the hotel by 8 a.m. They took the PCR test and they said the earliest he will get out is by 8 p.m. So he'd missed the whole speech he was scheduled to give. Again, something happened, some kind of miracle, that suddenly they got word that he was getting out at 2 p.m., that this COVID test came back negative and he could get out. And his motorcade, provided by the United States State Department and the U.S. Embassy, and then took him right to the event. And same with Secretary Esper, the Secretary of Defense. They came, it was so dramatic. And Dr. Young knows he was there. It was so dramatic. We're right at the last 5 minutes of our session. And suddenly, Secretary of State's outside the door. And he had just had surgery on his foot. He shouldn't travel. He just had surgery. He could not walk. He had a scooter where he puts his one knee down on the scooter and he can just scoot in. And he scooted in with 4 minutes left in the session. He came in and it just made everybody feel like this is a miracle. This is a miracle of God. And then again, they spoke on the 13th, and I want to thank you for your support. I think that, our unity is the most important thing. Unity through the morning devotion, getting all of our leaders and all of our families together, all of our, younger leaders together. I'm so grateful for Kayleigh and Larry helping me from America, helping us together. Tom Walsh and Tom McDivitt and I working together like one, just like one. And that collective power just opened the door. Of course, there's many famous people here from many other countries, prime ministers and presidents, and also religious leaders. I'm so grateful, Dr. Young, for you and our Dr. Ki-Hun Kim and our whole team, and especially President Naokimi. President Naokimi's beautiful spirit of confidence and absolute focus. So I'm grateful for my wife too. I mean, she took care of these wives, and without that, it wouldn't happen. It's just so exciting. So also Newt Gingrich came again, and his heart has become so close to Mother. It's just an amazing thing. And that's why I say Mother's wisdom. It's not just always saying, "Oh, Mother did it all," or "Mother did," yes, we know that, but this one really happened from Mother. Because a few years ago, suddenly out of nowhere, Mother said, Dan Burton should be the chair of IAPP. Nobody recommended Dan to Mother or anything. She had met him twice. And then suddenly he and Speaker DeVenecia became the co-chairs. When Dick Cheney and also Vice President Newt Gingrich came to the First World Summit 2019 that they went to, they saw Dan Burton, they gained confidence. They knew, no, Dan Burton doesn't relate with people because it's popular. He's a very solid man. So then along with that, it went from Newt Gingrich and Dan Burton, two great leaders. And then when, also Secretary of State Pompeo came in, he saw Newt Gingrich and he had confidence. He knew Newt Gingrich would not mess around with something that wasn't really good for God and good for America. And the same thing happened with Vice President Pence. He's very close friends with Congressman Dan Burton. And once they came to the Rally of Hope, their hearts opened up. They really loved Think Tank 2022 when they sat there in a room in a studio in Washington for 3 hours, meeting Japanese panel, the American panel, and the Korean panel. Wonderful, wonderful time. So I'm very grateful to Mother. That's why it's like she planted a tree and it just grew into all these other leaders. And of course, Tom McDivitt, he's amazing. He's developing incredible media foundation. So the world is starting to awaken to who true father and true mother are. They're starting to feel, also because of the persecution, they feel now they really realize, oh my gosh, Father and Mother Moon went through so much. They went through so much, and it's all misunderstanding. It's really clearly misunderstanding. And now we're clearing that up, and it makes people feel more heartfelt love for Mother, or kind of wanting to help her. They're feeling moved in their heart that way. So again, Pastor Paula White, she is really, really, truly standing as a religious leader. And I want to thank Bishop Stallings and Dr. Rouse and all our religious leaders. They all work together. Bishop Noel Jones, God bless him. They're all together as one. Kind of, this is all of our movement rising, and it's really because blessed families, blessed central families being united together. I'm telling you, it's like something else. Reiko, you should come here now. Reiko, come. She didn't want to do this, but I just want her to just show her face. Okay.
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
I love you.
Oh, Reiko-san. Thank you. Kokoro-sama desu. Thank you so much. We are talking about you.
Thank you, Dr. Young. Thank you, Tall. Thank you, America. Thank you, America family. Thank you. 감사합니다.
감사합니다. Thank you. Yeah, I think many brothers and sisters are talking to me that what happening now, America? morning devotion and the UPF, and so everything is going on. Many things. They really many people greeting to me that something happened now in America. I really appreciate all our dear North American brothers and sisters through your dedication, devotion, and 정성. 감사합니다. Because of you, now America really can revive. We can go forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Jenkins. So now for our friendly reminders. Number 1 is to invite someone. You never know what it could do for that person, and I know you won't regret it. I know that they will love being with all of us in the morning during Morning Heart Devotion. And number 2, joyfully give from your heart. See how God will inspire you to give more to Morning Heart Devotion or more to your community with a song or a prayer or as an MC. And you never know what it could do. So now for our musical offering, I'd like to invite Sunhwa Rayner and Jim Edgerly.
Good morning, brothers and sisters.
Oh, Sunhwaya! Oh, beautiful Sunhwa.
It's good to be back.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me. So a few days ago, my friend, Uncle Jim Edgerly, called me up and asked if I would join him on this virtual music collaboration. So I was very happy to, and it just reminded me how grateful I am to have this technology to be able to connect with people across the country. And so I'm just very honored to be here, and I'm actually going to pass it over to Uncle Jim to share what song we did. Uncle Jim, you there? Maybe not.
Good morning. Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good morning, Dr. Young. Reverend Jenkins, that was such an awesome testimony. We really, really appreciate hearing all that from you. Thank you very, very much to share those stories. It means so much for us to hear that report from you. Thank you very much. This is a beautiful song. It's a Christian hymn written in the 1930s by a British woman, Eleanor Farjeon, made popular by Cat Stevens. It's called Morning Devotion. It's called Morning is Broken. And thank you very much, Sunhwa, for playing this together with me. This was a duet suggested by Lawrence Baer.
Oh, I see.
Morning has broken like the first morning. Blackbird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word. Sweet the rain's new for a sunlit from heaven, like the first dew fall on the first grass. Praise for the sweetness of the wet garden, sprung in completeness where His feet have. Mine is the song, mine bird has spoken like the first bird. Praise for the singing, praise for the morning, praise for them springing fresh from the word.
Wow, 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 wow. Bravo, bravo. Really amazing and beautiful. What a beautiful song. Wow, like a father and daughter, joining together. You really comfort us so much. Thank you so much, our James and Sunhwa. I hope our Sunhwa, you can create this kind of the music program more often. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was beautiful. Just absolutely beautifully done. Thank you. And now to close us off in prayer, I'd like to invite up Mr. Takezawa. Takezawa-san, if you could please unmute.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This morning, Dr. Yon initiated this morning devotion. This is our Johnson condition, Heavenly Father. Through this morning devotion, we can unite beyond boundaries of races, beyond the boundaries of history's background. So through this morning devotion, this is our condition, our heartfelt condition. Please let us unite. Please let us brought us sincere repentance, and we ask forgiveness and thank you for everything, and we love each other. And through this morning devotion, we can cultivate so much, and also we can bring unity, and we can offer our sincere day by day in front of Heavenly Parent. Thank you again. Dr. Young initiated this morning devotion. Thank you for his effort. So his effort and our effort come together, and then we want to create bigger happiness in front of you, Heavenly Father, and to parents, and to parents, your efforts and sacrifice everything one day become more real, great fruits for the world and also for this America. Thank you again. I pray in my name, Hidemi Takezawa and my wife Himiko Takezawa, Central Breast Family, Aju.
Thank you so much, Dr. Takezawa, our dentist. 감사합니다.
Thank you for closing us off beautifully. And now, our morning heart devotion is over for today, sadly, but I hope you all have a wonderful day and that we see you back tomorrow morning.
Thank you very much. God bless you.